What is the pettiest thing you have done after a breakup? I waited until 15 minutes before the new season of Game of Thrones started to change the password on my HBO account that I knew he was still using. Was in a relationship for 2 years. 2 years too long. He was an abusive alcoholic that was lovingly manipulative when sober. Broke up with him after having to call the police on him after a rather rough night. 2 weeks later, and I'm staying strong. Telling him he has to be sober for at least a year before I would ever consider giving him another chance. For the first time I stuck to my no, which was new for him, and he very much so did not like it. Him then spilling that he had been cheating on me for 2 months anyways with a girl he had sworn he was just friends with. 2 months later I'm going through a junk drawer of mine, and I found I still had his spare car key. I'm not an angry person day to day and I honestly don't even wish anything bad towards him. I did however move his car 2 blocks every morning for a week. And on the last day, after what I'm sure was a week of being late to work and feeling on the verge of insanity, I left his car where he had parked it. I did also though turn the volume to maximum and move everything movable slightly. Do I think it was healthy? Not really, but it did ducking feel great. In 2010, I found out my fiancé had been having an affair with our neighbor for the past 6 months. 2 weeks before our wedding, his best man broke down and told me, for 8 years, I have been giving creepy dudes my ex's phone number instead of mine. His sister always texts me his new phone number when he changes it. She also sends photos and video of him losing his mind angry when he gets a call from a dude looking for a hookup. His sister is the real MVP here, though. The ex cheated on me after 12 years with someone he met at work. When that went sour he lost his job and ended up falling behind on his car payment. The repo company had my place as his last known address, so when they showed up here looking for the car I invited them in, used Facebook to get them as much info on the ex and new girlfriend as possible, gave them his parents' address, and sent them on their way with a smile. I hope I'm not too late to this, but I loosened the seams in all his pants and shorts, so that as soon as he sat they drip open on him. It's been 10 years and that still makes me laugh. The fact that this even occurred to you. You are a genius. After the bro I was dating gave me the silent treatment for a week while we lived together, and then I found out he was cheating on me. I hid all his protein powder in his dirty laundry. He called the cops about 3 weeks later, who then showed up at my house asking about stolen protein powder. I informed them that no, it wasn't stolen, and if he had done his laundry in the last 3 weeks he would have found it. One cop looked annoyed, but the other one burst out laughing. Wish I could have seen my ex's face when the cops informed him he needed to do his laundry. He repeatedly cheated on me with multiple women, so I had my pregnant roommate piss on a test and then just dropped it at his front door. No note, no way to know who it came from. The panic was real. He always spoke about how he hated his dad for cheating and lying to his mom. So when I find out he cheated on me with multiple women, I went to his apartment and found a photo of us on his bedside table and wrote "just like your daddy" on it. I also took all his toilet paper and hand soap because even though he was the 25-year-old man with a job and I was a 19-year-old college student, he apparently couldn't buy his own shit and I had to buy it for him. So technically it was mine. After getting left a week before our wedding to a man who refused to admit he was cheating on me, I only found out when was of the girls he was fooling around with broke down and told me. I subscribed him to the Watchtower, Jehovah's Witness, and requested visits from them and Mormons, etc. Pretty much every religious mailing list as well. Used his email every time I needed to use an email to see stuff online. His work email as well as personal. Sometimes I just found cool things to get mailing lists from. Anything from daily devotionals to Ashley Madison. It was fun until it wasn't, and I realized I needed to let go of the anger. But I don't regret it. I let my ex keep our cat we got together after he begged me, only to have him call me a month later saying he didn't want the cat anymore. When I went to get the cat from our old house, I found that my ex hadn't cleaned the cat litter since before I moved out. I was mostly mad for the kitten's sake. Honestly, I doubt my ex took care of him at all. A fight broke out after he refused to clean the litter up, so I ended up dumping the whole litter box right on his living room floor. Then I stormed out with the litter box in one arm and the cat in the other. Side note, kitten is 6 now. Found out my ex and his friends were awful to the poor little guy, so I'm glad I took him when I did. My husband of 24 years was cheating on me. I figured it out about 2 months after it really started, but he kept the identity of the other woman a secret. A few weeks before our divorce, I decided I needed to know why it was such a mystery, so I did some investigating. Turns out it was a co-worker who was also married, so I went to their house and knocked on the door and told her husband. My ex had the nerve to call me and accuse me of ruining people's lives. #TEAMPETTY. My ex was super into the drift scene and loved cool cars, but he was always super broke. He broke up with me on Christmas Day by gifting me a pair of socks and telling me it wasn't working out after I had bought him a ton of nice Christmas gifts. The next week I took all my hard-earned money I was saving up to buy myself a new car and bought the exact one he talked about constantly but was too broke to buy himself. Made sure he saw it by driving through the parking garage he was working at as the ticket guy, and it felt ducking good to see his face as he handed me that ticket. He got another girl pregnant, so of course I broke up with him and demanded he return all of my things, including anything I bought him. He asked for some money he had given me back. Instead I got on my computer and printed out a whole dollars. I printed and cut them out and put them in a sealed envelope. He didn't realize until he got in the cab to go back home he had fake money, and no, I never gave him back his real money. One of my old friend's exes unexpectedly dumped her while they were sharing an apartment and a job she had landed him. They spent a few weeks living together broken up, and he wasted no time going on new dates. My friend decided to rename the petty game. She began by cutting his sneaker laces slightly shorter and recapping them so that they seemed to have shrank. One morning, she hid all of his socks while he was running late for work. He became increasingly frustrated while searching the apartment, so she sent him to check the dryer while she placed all of his socks in the middle of the hamper he'd been checking for the past 20 minutes. Needless to say, he was dumbfounded when he found them later. Perhaps the most lethal troll was about 2 weeks after they'd broken up when she added Chardonnay to his dirty barn prior to him returning from his date. He immediately plopped down on the couch and took a huge rip when he got home, and she just watched like an absolute savage as he repeatedly hit the bong, utterly confused as to why it was roasting his lungs. I found out a guy I dated for almost a year and who wanted me to move in with him and wanted to get me pregnant had been cheating with his ex nearly the whole relationship. He was very insecure about his little member size, emphasis on little. So after I confronted him about the cheating and he was begging forgiveness, I texted, "Oh, don't stress about it. Just means you've been disappointing 2 women in bed for the last year instead of just 1. Super petty but quite effective as an immediate showstopper. A long time ago my ex cheated on me with a friend. So I went on Craigslist and put an ad up for cheap tickets to 98 Degrees, who were coming to town. I put my ex's phone number on it and asked for people to call from 10 PM on because I worked third shift. I've grown up a bit since then, but I still think it's funny. After a messy breakup, my ex kept harassing me at home and at school by shouting awful things at me. I asked him to stop, but he refused because it was too fun. So, in the spirit of fun, I posted a shirtless picture of him, which he posted on social media right after our breakup as another way to psychologically torment me, and his phone number on Craigslist's Men Seeking Men page. The headline: young guy looking for fun. Not only did he have to change his phone number, but he also never bothered me again. After blocking my ex-boyfriend's number, I would give his number to every guy who asked for my number downtown. I went bar hopping every weekend during that point in my life, so it happened semi-frequently. I'm sure it made his blood boil to have dudes texting his phone looking for me. I broke up with him after being treated badly for too long. He kept sending me vicious emails when I wouldn't answer his calls. I responded describing a fake new boyfriend who goes down on me at least 20 minutes at a time, in Comic Sans font. He was a graphic designer and would rant about how bad that font is on occasion. He knew it was intentional. My ex had a mediocre wine collection that she was very proud of. Since both of our names were on the rental agreement, we were stuck there for a few months together. Right before I packed up, she was out of town for a trip. I took every bottle out of the wine fridge and placed each one in a pot of boiling water for a few minutes until they were nice and toasty. Then back in the fridge they went. Enjoy that Cabernet Sauvignon Weingart _05.